Đây là phần 2 của vụ án Jennifer Ban. Trong phần này, chúng ta sẽ nói về quá trình điều tra vụ án, buổi thẩm vấn Daniel Wong, người yêu cũ của Jennifer, và phân tích diễn biến tâm lý của Jennifer trong lần thẩm vấn thứ hai với cảnh sát. Các bạn có thể xem phần 1 bằng cách nhấn vào link liên kết trên màn hình hoặc ở phần mô tả. Sau khi bị cảnh sát thẩm vấn lần 1, Jennifer quay lại bệnh viện để thăm cha. Lúc này ông Hán vẫn đang hôn mê. Bác sĩ cho biết một viên đạn đã găm vào mặt ông, sau đó đi xuống làm vỡ xương cổ và hiện vẫn nằm trong cổ ông. Nhưng may mắn là viên đạn đã bắn trượt một động mạch quan trọng và có nhiều khả năng ông đã qua giai đoạn nguy hiểm. Tất cả mọi người đều vui mừng. Jennifer hỏi bác sĩ liệu viên đạn nằm trong cổ có thể gây nhiễm trùng hay không. Bác sĩ đảm bảo với cô là không. Lo lắng trước viễn cảnh ông Hán tỉnh dậy, lấy lý do điện thoại hết pin, Jennifer hỏi xin người chú vài xu lẻ để gọi điện. Chú cô đưa điện thoại di động của ông cho cô dùng, nhưng Jennifer từ chối. Sau khi nhận được tiền lẻ từ chú, cô đi ra trụ điện thoại công cộng ngoài hành lang bệnh viện và gọi cho người yêu cũ Daniel Wong. Trong lúc này, cảnh sát vẫn tiếp tục cuộc điều tra. Họ cho xe đi vòng quanh khu dân cư để tìm thêm manh mối. Một người cung cấp thông tin ẩn danh nói với cảnh sát rằng Daniel Wong, bạn trai cũ của Jennifer, là kẻ buôn bán ma túy. Chiều ngày hôm sau, ngày 10 tháng 11, Daniel Wong được mời đến đồn cảnh sát để lấy lời khai. Để xua tan nghi ngờ của Daniel, trước khi bắt đầu cuộc thẩm vấn, cảnh sát nói với anh ta: "Chúng tôi phỏng vấn tất cả mọi người. Tất cả những ai có liên hệ với gia đình trong vòng 10-15 năm đều được phỏng vấn. Vì vậy, cậu không có gì đặc biệt so với những người khác." Daniel lúc này 25 tuổi, tỏ ra bình tĩnh và thoải mái trong suốt buổi phỏng vấn. Thậm chí cậu còn lăn ra ngủ khi bị bỏ lại một mình trong phòng. Daniel nói về quá khứ buôn bán ma túy của mình. Cậu kể về mối quan hệ với Jennifer. Họ bên nhau 7 năm trước khi cha mẹ Jennifer phát hiện ra và ép cô chia tay cậu.
Again, I don't know who is behind it, right? I just know that her parents didn't want us to be, her family didn't want us to be together, and I respected that decision, and I moved on.
Now, why didn't her family want you to be together?
I don't know. There's so many different. I asked her the first time, and she said it was because I didn't make enough money. I was working at Boston Pizza, and she told them that I finished engineering. And they're like, "Oh, well, why did he finish engineering and just work at Boston Pizza? Why doesn't he go and make 60, 70,000 being an engineer?" And then after that, the next time I asked her, she's like, "It's not even about how much money you make. It's the fact that you're Filipino." And I'm like, "How is that possible when your cousin just married a Filipino guy?" She's like, "Well, nobody in the family likes him, blah, 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 blah." So there's always a reason why we couldn't be together, that her parent, I don't know.
Other reasons?
Sorry?
Is there other reasons?
No, those were the reasons.
But what do you think? Because you've been in the industry, you've dealt with a pound. You won't say you've dealt with over, and I won't have to go there. But in the industry, what do you think people somebody over? Give me a number.
If someone were to, it'd have to be around $10,000. Someone would, I'd pretty much be sure for about $10,000 someone would do something like that.
Daniel còn tiết lộ Jennifer sử dụng một điện thoại bí mật để liên lạc riêng với cậu. Chiếc điện thoại này về sau trở thành một trong những vật chứng quan trọng của vụ án. Jennifer không được phép quay về nhà vì đó là hiện trường vụ án. Cô phải sống ở nhà họ hàng. Ngay cả người trong gia đình cũng bắt đầu nghi ngờ Jennifer. Họ thắc mắc tại sao cô không bị thương. Họ muốn biết cô đã gọi cho ai từ trụ điện thoại công cộng. Mọi chuyện càng trở nên khó khăn với Jennifer. Ngày 11 tháng 11, Jennifer được mời đến đồn cảnh sát để lấy lời khai lần 2. Jennifer đã có vài ngày chuẩn bị tinh thần trước buổi phỏng vấn. Có thể thấy chiến thuật lần này của cô là đóng vai một cô gái đau buồn, mong manh, yếu đuối. Mở đầu buổi phỏng vấn, cô thể hiện sự yếu đuối của mình bằng cách nói với cảnh sát là cô rất sợ.
Forgetting what you've already told me, and bring yourself through that day and through the event, and we'll see if we're going to see if we've learned or if you've remembered anything else. And there's some questions with respect to that statement that I'm going to ask you about. Okay, but I'm going to let you start again, and let's move forward from any time in that day where you want to start. If it's the time you woke up or if it's the time that your first interaction, it's your choice.
Okay, I'm very nervous, and I
Why
don't
are you?
remember
Why are you nervous? Tell me about why you're nervous.
because I don't want to say the wrong things.
Because
That day was a lot.
You're right.
And I've been scattered, and so bits and pieces are here and some pieces aren't here, and I'm just...
So, I want you to sit back in your chair, okay? Just sit back in your chair, take a deep breath, okay? Close your eyes, just follow my line, just sit back in the chair for a second, sit back, relax, the best you can, close your eyes, and just breathe for a minute.
Nhưng ngôn ngữ cơ thể đã phản bội Jennifer. Cô liên tục có những cử chỉ xoa dịu bản thân trong suốt buổi phỏng vấn. Như đã nói trong phần 1, đây là hành động cơ thể thực hiện trong vô thức để tự an ủi bản thân, giúp giảm lo lắng. Những hành động này bao gồm vuốt tóc, xoa tay, chạm vào mặt, nhịp chân, chạm vào cổ, khoanh tay trước ngực, bẻ khớp ngón tay. Tại sao chúng ta làm việc này khi bị căng thẳng? Vì khi chúng ta còn nhỏ, mỗi khi ta khó chịu hoặc khóc, cha mẹ hoặc người giám hộ của chúng ta sẽ xoa lưng, cánh tay và đầu để giúp chúng ta bình tĩnh lại. Cho nên sau khi trưởng thành, chúng ta có xu hướng tự xoa dịu bằng cách tái hiện những phản ứng thời thao đó. Nhưng lo lắng là phản ứng bình thường của một cô gái trẻ trong tình huống này, đúng không? Không. Nếu Jennifer thực sự là nạn nhân của một vụ cướp đột nhập vào nhà, lúc này cô sẽ cảm thấy an toàn khi đang ở trong đồn và được sự bảo vệ của cảnh sát.
Okay? We're not in any type of danger. We're nowhere. We're in a very safe place. Okay? And we're going to work through this. And don't worry about what you forget or what you mix up or whatever you're doing. Is you start and push the play button for that day. And if you stick to everything that you remember happening that day, it will come out in sequence. Okay? And I'm going to show you a technique after we go through this that will show it to you. Okay? So let's just start. You've taken a deep breath, you've relaxed, you're in a good position right there. Let's start from the beginning of the day, when you wake up, and let's start moving forward from there.
Khác với lần trước, cách nói chuyện của điều tra viên lần này mang nhiều tính đối chất, kết hợp với thẩm vấn chéo và dùng nhiều đòn tâm lý hơn. Điều tra viên tăng dần áp lực lên Jennifer khiến cô căng thẳng và để lộ nhiều sơ hở. Jennifer bắt đầu kể lại những sự kiện trong ngày vụ tấn công diễn ra.
The next thing I remember is my mother calling down for my father.
What is she saying?
She's calling him by his name and to come down.
Okay, so give us verbatim, what do you hear her saying? Is it in the Vietnamese Chinese, or
Yes,
is it in English?
it's in Vietnamese.
Okay, and what do you hear her say?
In Vietnamese, she's like, Han ơi, xuống đây.
Jennifer cố gắng thể hiện cảm xúc đau buồn khi kể lại sự việc. Nhưng nếu quan sát kỹ, ta biết đó chỉ là cảm xúc giả vờ. Khi thám tử hỏi thêm chi tiết, cô quên ngay việc thể hiện cảm xúc và tập trung trả lời câu hỏi một cách điềm tĩnh.
And what does that translate to?
That's my father's name, Han. Come down here.
Đây là một ví dụ khác của cảm xúc giả vờ. Hãy quan sát kỹ cảm xúc của Jennifer trước và sau khi điều tra viên hỏi thêm chi tiết.
I don't know how long they were in there, but I heard somebody go down the stairs. So at this point, I opened my door. I peered out, and there was a person in what would have been my brother's room.
And where's your brother's room located?
Just a little bit down I could see from my doorway to his doorway, just
Okay.
a little bit down the hall.
Cảnh sát nhận thấy điều đó, nhưng bỏ qua. Jennifer tưởng mình đã đánh lừa được điều tra viên.
Okay.
Sau đó, Jennifer liên tiếp đưa ra nhiều lời khai mâu thuẫn và phải đính chính rất nhiều lần.
Back to number 2, where he's asking your mom for her wallet.
Her purse.
Her purse.
Her purse, at first.
Lần trước, Jennifer nói tên số 2 không nói câu nào.
He had pushed her back onto the couch, and she
Who
kept...
pushed her?
Number 2.
Okay.
He was pushing her back onto the couch. And she kept saying, "Where's my purse? Where's my purse?" And the guy kept telling her to sit down, and I didn't want my mom to get hurt.
How many times does she get up and get pushed back down?
I'd say she got up twice. two was the one talking to my father, asking about his wallet. And number one, and he kept saying, "Where's the rest of the money? And where's the purse?" was coming from number one.
Number one?
Yes.
Behind you?
Yes.
I thought...
But number two didn't speak.
Okay, well, you just said number two is the one who's making demands of...
No, he's the one looking.
Okay.
He's the one looking.
So number two, as we're stepping back to, because I don't want to confuse this thing, I want to slow it
I'm
down.
sorry.
No. Don't be sorry. We're just going to slow it down. Okay, you're getting agitated and you're anxious. So we're going to slow things down again because it's very important in this area, right? As you had said, that number two talks to your mom and says, "Where's your purse?"
Okay.
And pushes her down. So now you said that number two didn't speak. So let's clarify that.
Okay. What I meant was number one had asked her where her purse was, and she was mumbling, "Where's my purse?" And number two was the one that pushed her.
So your number one is talking to your mom from behind you.
Yes.
Okay. Where's your purse? Where's your purse?
Yes.
She gets up. And number two?
Number two steps forward, and that's when my mom steps back and sits down.
Has number two uttered a word at this point in time?
I can't remember hearing him.
Okay. So we're just correcting what you said earlier, because you said earlier that it was number two who was asking where the purse is, what are the purses, and now you've said now it's number one guy who would initially...
I'm sorry, it's just...
No. It's all a purpose. The purpose here is clarifying what you're saying. So number one is...
I just don't want to...
Number one is the one who's doing the talking about the purse. Number three is focused on your dad's wallet. Okay. Number two pushes your mom back into place, into the scene. Now, at this point in time, can you see number two? Can you see his description?
At this point in time, all I could see is a hoodie and slim build.
A hoodie and slim build. Okay. You get a good look at number two now of what he's wearing?
All I could tell was he had a vest, and his face was like a long oval face.
He had a vest?
No, hoodie.
Okay.
A dark hoodie.
Okay. Did you see them recover anything inside your mom and dad's room?
I did not see anything, no.
Are you sure? Because when we spoke the last time, there was some mention of some other money that went missing.
Yes, the U.S. currency.
So how did that get found?
I believe when they were looking for my father's wallet, they had opened the drawer, and it was in an envelope.
What drawer would that have been in?
If you're at the doorway where I was standing, on the left side, the bedside table.
Whose side of the bed is it?
That's my mother's side of the bed.
Trong suốt buổi thẩm vấn, rất nhiều lần Jennifer để tay cái này, giống như cô đang cầu nguyện cho mình khai đúng.
Okay. And approximately how much money?
I'm not sure how much she took out for our trip, but I can only estimate about a few $100s.
Few hundred, because at the time, the last time you told me, you were pretty adamant about $1,100. So I'm curious to know how you came up with that number.
I believe because when we were at the border, we stopped at the duty free. My mother was deciding whether to use her U.S. currency or her U.S. currency or her Canadian currency.
So it was at that time you remember hearing $1,100, and is that the inference you're saying? Is that because you're pretty solid, saying that it was $1,100 that went missing, that was taken, and that you saw it when we spoke, and who took it? Who took possession of the money?
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Sau đó, điều tra viên yêu cầu Jennifer tái hiện cách cô gọi điện cấp cứu khi tay bị trói vào lan can.
You're now bound to the railing. Can you show me, can you stand up and turn around and tell me, just show on the camera, how your hands are bound? And how you are against the railing. You don't have to sit down, I just need to see how you were.
Just tell you.
The only reason that I'm trying to, I need to do this is that I'm also going to ask you is that so take this back to, take it out of a traumatizing event, which it is, and put yourself into a more clinical position, because I want to see how you could physically get your phone out of your waistband. We're obviously going to need to know that. It's very important. So traumatize away, now put yourself into just a state of, I need to mechanically show how I can get access to my phone. Okay, because that's obviously very relevant. We know you made the phone call, but questions are going to obviously raise is that if my hands are bound and I'm against the railing, how do I talk to a 911 operator? Okay, so clinically, this is now a clinical demonstration. Just stand up, focus in on how you did it. And I want you to stick that in your waistband as an example. Okay, so just take your sweater off, because this will be a very smooth, very quick thing. It's a one-time demonstration. I'm not going to ask you to repeat it, but I need to go through it. Okay, so just take your sweater off. Stand up and turn around. Put this in the side that you believe it was in. Great. Turn around. So that you're looking away from me. You're looking exactly like, now here is where the banister is. Put your hands back behind your back, exactly how you remember they were. Okay? Now, and are you restrained from movement? How far can you move your hands from the banister?
They tied my upper arm.
Yes?
Around the banister.
Yes?
But my hands were bound together.
So your hands bound together, and this is the arm that's the strings wrapped around against the banister?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now how can you get to the phone? And how do you make the phone call? 911?
Mm-hmm.
And do you talk down like that?
Yes, I'm yelling at the phone like this.
And how can you hear?
I turned the volume on max.
Yes? So that's exactly the way that you're talking to her against the railing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good enough. Sit down. Here, Jennifer, take a Kleenex and just take a minute.
Jennifer đang giả khóc. Nếu cô khóc thật, cô sẽ dùng khăn giấy để lau nước mắt hoặc xì mũi. Nhưng ở đây, cô chỉ dùng khăn giấy để che mặt. Về sau khi làm chứng trước tòa, điều tra viên cho biết anh đã kiểm tra và thấy khăn giấy hoàn toàn khô ráo.
I believe they went out the front door.
Okay.
But I couldn't see anything. It's what I heard.
It's what you're hearing. What else do you hear next?
Then I heard, once the door closed, I heard my father. He ran up the stairs and all I could hear was moaning. Yeah. Once I heard him starting to move, that's when I pulled out the phone and I was trying to call 911.
Okay.
Điều này không đúng. Trong phần 1, ta nghe thấy tiếng ông Hán la khi Jennifer đang gọi cấp cứu. Trước đó, cô không biết ông Hán còn sống.
What I want to do now is I want to go into your past, okay? And start talking about things that have been going on with you in relation to your life, okay?
Cảnh sát hỏi Jennifer về cuộc đời cô để thu thập thông tin cho lần thẩm vấn tiếp theo.
And how did you feel about that? How did you feel about having to lie to your parents?
I felt guilty, but every time I tried to bring it up, there was just so much expectation.
Did you have any resentment towards them for this?
I chose what I chose, but in the end I chose my family.
That BlackBerry, I'm kind of confused. Was that an active phone?
No.
Because now we're talking about 3 phones now. We got a SIM card, we got the phone that your parents know you have, and you got a BlackBerry. Up until a week ago.
Yes.
So
The BlackBerry is what I was using with my own Roger SIM card. The phone I'm using now was an old phone that I no longer used.
Okay, so
because the reception was no good.
The BlackBerry was your normal phone that you
Yes.
were using on a regular basis.
Yes.
And you would switch SIM cards. If you were going to communicate with him with the other SIM card, you'd put the SIM card in that BlackBerry and talk to him through that.
I had an iPhone.
You had an iPhone?
I kept in my room that my parents didn't know about.
And where is that phone now?
It should be still in my room.
Yes. Where?
I believe it was on my laptop table or something, or on my counter.
And it doesn't have a SIM card in it right now?
No, I don't keep the SIM card in it just in case my parents asked.
Okay. So there's an iPhone on your desk, somewhere in your room.
Yes.
Đây là chiếc iPhone Jennifer dùng để liên hệ với sát thủ. Cô đã cẩn thận vứt SIM đi. Jennifer tưởng tin nhắn nằm trong SIM, nhưng cảnh sát tìm thấy tin nhắn lưu trong điện thoại. Những tin nhắn với sát thủ trong chiếc iPhone đã trở thành bằng chứng quan trọng chống lại cô trước tòa. Sau khi nghe Jennifer tâm sự, cảnh sát đột nhiên quay lại ngày diễn ra vụ án và tạo áp lực lên Jennifer bằng những câu hỏi mang tính khép tội.
So you're telling me that you had no involvement in what happened, meaning not saying how the outcome came, but you had no involvement in any type of illegal activity that would have drawn you or the attention of you to have bad people come to your house looking for large sums of money. You're not involved in this any which way. Because the question obviously stands, Jennifer, is you're upstairs and they're downstairs. Right? So it's a natural concern why would they leave you alone? Why would they not do the same to you? You can't answer that question?
The only thing I can say is he said I cooperated. But I asked him to take me.
The number one guy said you cooperated. Okay. You had no threats. And again, we're back to the fact that you admittedly lied. Okay, not to me, right? No. Not to me.
No.
You admittedly lied. You've lied to your parents, right? About going to school. You've lied to Daniel about being raped and about receiving a bullet. Who's to say this whole thing isn't a lie? That what you're telling me is a lie? Because if you are lying, it's the most cold-blooded thing that I have ever faced in my life. There is nothing that you've said to me today is a lie. And I want to just put a little preamble. Nothing in here that you might have mistaken because of order of events. I'm saying to you right now, is there anything throughout the course of your statement today where you've lied to me? From your interaction with Daniel, from your I'm not involved in drugs and I don't have anything to do with them and we don't have large sums of money? What about life insurance policies? Do your parents have life insurance policies?
I think I don't know.
You don't
I know they had a I have one of myself.
Yes.
And my mom they used to have one for me when I was younger.
Okay.
But half of that went to education, half went to life insurance. And when they found out I didn't go to university, they asked for the money back.
So hang on a second here. You told me that they never knew you didn't go to university. When did they find out that you didn't go to university?
I told them that I graduated, but I never went to university. That I went for 2 years, but I never finished.
Okay. And they wanted the money back as a result of that?
Yes.
So you did actually tell your parents somewhat of the truth that you never went to university, but it's half-truths.
Yes.
So, back to this line is where we're talking about the fact that of the lying, right, is that it's
I don't deal with the drugs. I don't associate with that.
Okay.
I don't.
Now, back to another very difficult question, but if I don't ask it, I'm going to be, it's an obvious one. The resentment that you may have had towards your parents for the interference in your relationship and your life and essentially locking you down in your house.
At the end of the day, I love my parents and I chose to be with them. And if I wanted to, I could have just left, but I didn't. I wanted to stay with them and take care of them.
So this wasn't some evil plot that you thought up to...
Oh my God, no.
No interaction, no belief, no, you didn't have anything to do with this thing at all whatsoever. You don't engage in illegal activity?
No.
Cảnh sát rời phòng khoảng 20 phút, sau đó quay lại với đoạn tâm lý cuối cùng. Họ muốn Jennifer rời khỏi buổi thẩm vấn với tâm lý hoảng loạn, nhưng vẫn còn chút hy vọng là cảnh sát tin vào lời khai của mình.
Okay, we're done, essentially. How are you feeling?
Sorry, you really scared me.
Did I? What did I scare you about? Sit down and take a load off. Tell me how you're feeling and how I scared you. I don't want you walking away from here thinking I'm evil. I want you to walking around from here thinking that this guy is helping investigate my mom's murder and he's going to turn over every stone possible to make sure that we catch the people who do that. That's what I want you feeling. So I don't want you walking away from here thinking that I scared you or I'm a bad man. Sometimes we have to ask very, very difficult questions, but it's my job. Okay? Then I'm just saying all the rules. If you didn't have anything to do with this, and you're telling me the truth, then we may be calling you to add, is this true what this person's saying that this way? And we may be asking you points like that. Okay? You're our only link. You're it. Until your dad regains his back and being able to be spoken to, right now you're our only link to this case. So we may rely on you heavily until we can speak to your father. Okay? So don't be afraid. If you've told the truth, the last thing you should be afraid of is anything. If you've told the truth and you've been truthful through this whole process, then you're helping. You're doing your part. Okay? And don't be afraid of me.
Sau 4 giờ bị thẩm vấn, Jennifer rời khỏi đồn cảnh sát. Chỉ một ngày sau, ngày 12 tháng 11 năm 2010, cơn ác mộng của Jennifer đã trở thành hiện thực. Ông Hán tỉnh dậy. Từ vị trí nhân chứng, Jennifer đã trở thành nghi phạm chính trong cuộc điều tra. Sau tang lễ của mẹ, Jennifer được cảnh sát triệu tập đến đồn để phỏng vấn lần thứ 3. Chúng tôi sẽ tiếp tục nói về quá trình điều tra vụ án và phân tích diễn biến tâm lý của Jennifer trong phần 3.
The reason why I'm here today is that I'm an expert in what we call truth verification. I'm not a homicide detective. And I can tell you I've spent literally a week on this case, going over information after information, accessing all these sources, speaking to every other expert on the case. And at this point, Jennifer, I know that you've not been truthful with the police. You've not told us everything that you know, purposely, and that you've left information out.